What is up, homies? Christian back again with our Twin Sons action figure close-up, and today I have for us the Hasbro 6-inch Black Series Clone Commander Obi-Wan Kenobi. So as you can see, we have him here in his plastic prison. This is a throwback figure, came out I think a year or two ago now, and so we have that classic Gregory Titus artwork. Really nice job doing Obi-Wan Kenobi there, what I say. No number, because he was a Walgreens exclusive. Legendary Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi was a nobleman and gifted in many ways of the Force. He trained Anakin Skywalker, served as a general in the Republic Army during the Clone Wars, and guided Luke Skywalker as a mentor. So, just sort of a Obi-Wan Kenobi bio in general, not necessarily about him during the Clone Wars, it seems. Gregory Titus artwork again. Legalese. Says here, Obi-Wan. They did not start with the Clone Commander, which is nice because Obi-Wan fits in it entirely here. And then we have the figure on the front, but we came to see him inside. Let's see what's inside. So here he is outside of the package and free from his plastic prison. So overall, just at a glance, he looks really good, except the neck. At a glance, the neck is just too big. You could tell it's the same neck that was used for Clone Troopers. So it was meant to have a helmet that's sitting lower and closer to the shoulders. They just slapped the Obi-Wan head on it, and it shows. But it's just something that's hard to get over because it's such a wrong proportion on it. But hopefully with some photography, you can angle it so it looks a little bit smaller, you know? Try to have him looking down, but let's take a closer look at him. His head, though, however, is amazing. This is one of the best head sculpts I think Hasbro has ever done. Especially for Obi-Wan, this is definitely the best Obi-Wan head sculpt. This might be one of the best photo reels Hasbro's done too. You can just see they nailed it. The eyes are perfect. The beard, I can't even tell if it's printed or painted. It's that good. His hair, obviously not photo real, but has a nice wash to it, giving a nice depth to all that texture they went to sculpt in there and stuff. So, you know, it's nice because it's not exactly, the actor's name is slipping for me right now, but it's not exactly like the Obi-Wan in the movies, but it's not exactly the cartoon. It's like they actually did try to bring the cartoon to life, which is weird because this is based off of the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, but this head reminds me more of the new Clone Wars, because like the last figure we had, the Tartakovsky Clone Wars used Obi-Wan from episode 2, with the longer hair compared to this. But let's take a look at the rest of them. The body seems to be complete reuse from the Clone Trooper from Phase 1, except for these little chest straps, cloth wraps. I don't know what you would call them, but these are new and sculpted in, but the rest of the body seems to be the same. Also would explain why the neck is like that. The soft goods, you know, he came out a few years ago, so this definitely seems like this was the beginning of them really starting to step it up with their soft goods. Because this looks fantastic. It just flows nicely on him. The color is a bit plain, but overall it's very nice. It doesn't overflow too much, it just sits nicely on him. So, you can see, like with the other Clone Trooper we have pretty much the same belt here, with all these pouches on it. I don't even know what all these pouches would hold. And he's got his thermal detonator, but something tells me Obi-Wan doesn't keep thermal detonators in there. You know, it has always had the question asked of, why does he even need to wear this armor anyway, when he can just deflect blaster bolts? Well, the answer is that because he looks badass. And no more of a reason than that. So, his legs down here. Old Phase 1 Clone Troopers, and I think the legs were even reused for Phase 2. And it's got the line right there on the sculpt. Very sharp edge right there. And you can have, you see you can have the dimps for the joints. Oh no, I'm just gonna call them dimps from now on because they're not like dimples, but they're kind of like that. So, his arm, he has the wrist communicator here on the forearm, shoulder pads. Overall, just a plain figure though, you know? It's got all these pouches. Let's take a look at his articulation. Now this does use the original type of articulation. I know Hasbro has recently released a new Clone Trooper with an improved articulation, but again, this figure is 1 or 2 years old now, so he's definitely using the old body. The head, up, down, a little bit of tilt. I'll give it enough to say it has tilt. Swivel left, swivel right, but again, just looks a bit high on these shoulders. And speaking of shoulders, shoulder comes up. No, it doesn't. Shoulder does not come up. These shoulder pads are getting completely in the way, and it literally will not go up higher than this, as you guys can see. And it's already starting to break in the shoulder pad there, so. Shoulders unfortunately have like no movement, which kind of sucks, especially for a figure like a Jedi where you'd want him to, you know, be raising his lightsaber high up in the air. You could get it this way, but he's not gonna be holding it sideways out. He does have a bicep swivel. And for the elbow, double jointed, but again, it's that old trooper design where that middle gets in the way. So about highest you're gonna get is just below 90, maybe exactly 90, but that's all right. He comes with a trigger finger, again reused from the other Phase 1 clone troopers, but at least has the up and down swivel on the wrist. But seems a little lazy again. They could have just simply retooled this so it's actually gripping a lightsaber rather than shooting a lightsaber. Left arm, exact same articulation, except the wrist is sideways. But he's having a gripping hand again here, so I guess you can have him holding the lightsaber with the left hand. It would have been nice to get like a force push hand or something on this left hand, just because it's hard to pose them when his left hand is also crunched and his right hand's holding a lightsaber. Like, what are you gonna have his left hand doing in any sort of photography other than just hiding it? So for his torso, he gets swivel, swivel, a little bit of back, barely any front, like barely any front. In fact, I would say no front, because it really just pushes the armor into itself on top of these pouches, which I guess is realistic. They wouldn't actually be able to do that then in this armor, so more of a design fault than a Hasbro fault. Does seem like this is pegged in maybe in the back here, because you can see it swivels a bit, but it's definitely anchored in the back, so you can't push it down and try to get any more articulation. For his hips, they do come out a little bit, just a decent amount, but again, it's this armor hitting the armor up there, so a clone trooper in real life would not be able to hit that. If you have any members of the 501st, let me down in the comments down below if your actual armor that you have to wear for the 501st doesn't allow you to do things like this, or if it is Hasbro, you know, because obviously the clones are all CGI'd, so we couldn't say for sure, but you guys could, so let me know. For forward, goes all the way up. For backwards, it gets about this far. This figure is kind of hard to show the articulation with all its cloth, but it wants to swivel outwards when you go back, so it wants to do that. As you can see, you can get higher, and when you bring it back, it gets lower. His knees are double jointed, but again, they have this piece of armor in the way, so that's about as far as they can get. So not too far, can't kick the booty, but enough to make it look like he's running. We have the standard rocking ankles from Hasbro. In terms of accessories, this figure comes with something that literally every single Black Series figure should have, and I don't understand. This figure came out years ago, and we haven't seen this since. He comes with a stand, a sleek looking stand. As you can see, it says Star Wars The Black Series. It's like this triangle, so it doesn't take up too much real estate on the shelf. And the problem with the Black Series is that all the pegs are different for some reason on the bottoms of their feet, the peg holes. So they solved that issue by making it a slide them. Fits well enough. The only problem is that it does make it so that one foot is slightly higher than the other. But with some nice posing, you know, you can just have him look like he's like running or something, you know? Will that hold him? No. So it won't hold him in a super dynamic pose, like say a very nice peg one or a around the body one. But on a shelf, you know, if you bump the bookshelf, you won't fall over at least. That's a huge plus, especially if you have a ton and you know the pain of one of them just starts a domino chain. One falls, the rest fall. It's terrible. In terms of other accessories, he comes with his lightsaber, which I believe, yep. The blade comes out because he does have a tiny peg hole, looks like right there, to fit the peg. But it looks very nice. They painted this gold, like an actual metallic gold, but they left the gray just in the molded plastic gray instead of painting it silver. Would have been nice to have seen it painted silver as well, but the sculpt is really well done. They actually put all the ridges in there and down here. The black is painted on nicely. The gold is painted on very nicely too. Overall, a very nice lightsaber. Let's try out this peg hole. So, that looks very good. That's slick looking right there. Let's see how well he holds it in that trigger hand, because I am a little worried that this is going to be loose. But no, it's loose towards the top, but if you wedge it down here, he holds it well enough. He just holds it awkwardly though. You don't hold a lightsaber like a gun. You're not shooting the lightsaber. Would have been nice to have just retooled it a little bit and closed it. I get it with their exclusive figures like this. They try to do as little work as possible. But still, would have been nice to just put a little bit of effort into it. I guess all the, I don't know, the R&D for this figure, the money for this figure is definitely not R&D, but you know, the budget for this figure definitely went into the head. The head, it just takes the cake. Would have been nice for them to do a little bit of retooling on the neck and on the hand, because the head looks so good, but it's just immediately drawn to the awkwardness of that neck. But for some size comparisons, because I know, he's Clone Commander General Obi-Wan Kenobi, so you want to see how he looks with a clone. And this is him on the stand, so he's just sort of sideways, so let's take that off. But about the same height. Obi-Wan's, no, he's not even taller. They're actually the exact same height. Makes sense because they're using the same body pretty much. Because I'm pretty sure this general uses the same older body as well. Definitely, just looking at it. So, they look very well together. If you need an Obi-Wan to lead your army, or if you're a fan of the old Tartakovsky series, I highly recommend this Obi-Wan. Let me know if you guys have them. If you have them, take some pictures of them. Tag us on Instagram or on Facebook. Anyway, until next time, may the Force be with you.